Greetings, this is Kinesiology 234, and this is an example of a wellness talk. I'm going to go ahead and rip through one here real quick. And what I'm looking for on this is for you guys to keep in mind the format we talked about in class. You'll have a topic, and you'll have an introduction slide. You'll have maybe 3 bullet points you want to hit in the actual presentation itself, maybe 2 slides per bullet point to give you 6 slides there. A summary or a summary slide and then a conclusion slide. And that should put you at roughly about 12 minutes, give or take. So to that end, let's go ahead and get rolling on this. We'll talk about integrated wellness. Now, integrated wellness is the concept of basically having a better and more well-informed, if I can say it that way, medical community regarding the benefits of health and wellness. This is done with the purpose of having the medical community better able and in a better position to recommend or even prescribe wellness as an activity to their patient base. And many times this is missed. And the idea is what we're trying to accomplish here is extending care further across the wellness continuum to include the medical population, so these doctors are better able to prescribe. Now, when you look at the healthcare system in the United States, this would be point number 1, by the way. When you look at the healthcare system in the United States, it really is the envy of the modern world. It really is. I mean, you have other countries that have exceptional medical systems as well, but the United States has a humongous amount of money and has a humongous amount of investment dollars that can be done for treatment protocols, medical protocols, medicine per se, yet all those monies are directed towards the treatment after somebody becomes ill. And rarely, if ever, is there any kind of preventative medicine in the process. And really the big bullet point we're trying to express here on this slide is how monies should be directed more towards living better longer, not just living longer, and having a better quality of life and having people live better before they come ill. And it's kind of a preventative mindset and one that is lost in the medical community en masse because they tend to treat people who are sick, not prevent. And that's what we do as fitness practitioners is we work with people to try to keep them from becoming ill. So just, when you look at the actual wellness industry and you look at the medical industry as a whole, you're looking at a $4.4 trillion industry that's slated to grow to $6 trillion by 2025. There is plenty of money flowing around, and just to take even a rounding error of that and allocate that towards preventative maintenance, which you're seeing more and more of that in the industry as you see companies direct their monies more towards the wellness component and trying to keep their workforce well and healthy in the work environment. So it's been a shift. It's slow, unfortunately. This is a presentation I've done before, and it's one that I'm hopeful that will turn the corner at some point. And when you look at America, bullet point number 2, we're the fattest nation on earth. We have 97 million people who are overweight, who have health concerns as a result of their being overweight. You have 58 million people in the United States who are clinically obese. And you have, as a result, these individuals are becoming more and more progressively disabled. Difficulty getting up and down stairs, difficulty getting out of a chair, hard to function through their day-to-day activities. And as a result, you have a number of hypokinetic, meaning without movement type of illnesses and comorbidities. And you'll find these stats if you link out to here and here, it'll take you to these data points. So what you're really after with these hypokinetic illnesses is you have things like hypertension, arthritis, diabetes, osteoporosis, heart disease, depression, anxiety, and a ton more, right? And for all of these, for every single one of them, we can prescribe a pill after the condition, or we can go ahead and have a very cost-effective and very highly proven therapy, and that is exercise. And so the exercise component can be part of a medical protocol that can be implemented by a doctor, but the exercise is the key component to get people away from these comorbidities and get them to better health. And with bullet point 3 here, one of the biggest motivators that a person has per the CDC, a report that was found in the CDC website is quite frankly a recommendation from their doctor. If their doctor recommends a person to go and work out, they are more likely statistically to do so. And you'll have people who have greater adherence if the doctor is also very adept at following up to make sure that person has joined a facility, is participating in some type of activity, and if the doctor follows up, they'll have greater exercise or wellness adherence, meaning they'll be greater or stickier, if you will. They'll be more likely to stay with the program. So when you go and look at this and you kind of put it all together, you have to understand that while the entire medical community has become more and more articulate in the benefits of exercise, there's no doubt compared to maybe 20 years ago, oh my goodness, completely more articulate. They find in the study that I noted on the previous slide, what was found was doctors are sometimes hesitant to recommend based off of several things. One of which is just the doctor has poor knowledge regarding health and wellness, and they're unable to actually recommend fitness to their patients. They just are unable to do it in a way that comes off as knowledgeable. So they don't recommend. The doctor has their own poor physical condition. And it's kind of like, well, you're going to tell me to be fit and well and healthy, and yet you're completely out of shape, doc. What are you saying? So that's another angle. And then the other is doctors are not incentivized to do so. They receive no reimbursement for this at all. So as a result, there's no money's coming in for them to reimburse to a health or wellness facility. Why would they do so? And then the other part of this is, and many times we have this as practitioners as well, is that the opinion of the patient, or the opinion that the patient will not take the recommendation. And we have this in the fitness side, right? We recommend homework for people to do their homework, to get their workouts so they can come back in and be in better shape for the next workout. And there are times where our clients don't do that. Doctors have the same concern that their patients will not follow the recommendation provided by them to go and seek out an exercise program. If they won't seek out the pharmacy to go pick up their medication, they probably will listen to them to go and seek out a fitness facility. But what's interesting with this is when you look at the data, that's a smaller population, because keep in mind the data shows, and showed in an earlier slide, that as long as there's a recommendation by a doctor, there will be greater adherence. It statistically is proven. So when you have that in place, you have to understand, while a doctor might be hesitant to recommend based upon this, they have to be basically taught or informed that their opinion does matter, and their opinion does carry weight, and their opinion does direct the person to walk into a fitness facility and sign up for a membership and a personal trainer. So if you look at this for a step further, if I can jump out of the presentation component and get into just my opinion, now when you look at this and you start maybe networking yourself with the medical community, you look at the influence that these individuals can have, and they recommend that their patient go and seek out you as a trainer. That's a pretty powerful recommendation. Not only are they recommending that the person go and start moving around a little bit to get fit, to reduce their comorbidities, but they're also, if you've networked this correctly, they're redirecting their patients to you specifically because you've networked with them. Now, if you'd like to look at this further, you can look at the article by Dr. Phillips. It's fairly dated now, but it's a great article from 2005 in Club Business International. So what we know is this. We know in the United States, we're the fattest nation on earth. And it's just over the years, we've gone from an agricultural, agrarian type society to a more urban society. And so as a result, we're more sedentary and we just don't work out, and we've become the fattest nation on earth. And we also know that as a result, the obesity that's experienced in the United States is the root of a number of different illnesses, everything from depression to heart conditions. And as a result, we know that there is a cause and effect relationship between obesity and many of these hypokinetic illnesses. And the most effective and easiest and cheapest way at reducing these illnesses and these comorbidities is exercise, just to get yourself up and start moving. We know this to be true. And we hold it very close to our personal hearts, if you will, that it's true because we believe it as part of our profession. And with this, physicians in this whole process are wonderful gatekeepers because they're the ones that can be key influencers in this process to recommend that their patients actually become more involved with a health and wellness program. And as a result, when you look at this relationship between a wellness practitioner and another wellness practitioner, meaning a personal trainer and a doctor, it's a very easy connect the dots to see that a doctor can very much recommend wellness to a trainer or recommend wellness to their patient to go see a trainer, and that could be you, the practitioner. And so you have to look at this in terms of a bigger picture, and you hope for greater saturation. But I would urge each of you as you go through your careers, when you come across those from the medical community and physicians in general, they have a very, very strong influence, though they probably don't know it yet. And they have a very strong influence to be able to direct business to you. So I urge you to keep your ears and eyes open for individuals who are doctors in your facility when you go forward. And last but not least, when you look at the benefits of having movement and activity into a person's lifestyle, it's self-evident. But we also have to keep in mind that wellness has many different forms: psychological, emotional, financial, right, spiritual, physical. I mean, it's not just a one-dimensional thing. So when you're working with some of the individuals in the medical community, sometimes they don't wrap themselves fully around like that wellness wheel, as it sometimes is called. But there are a number of different factors that go into wellness. Most of the doctors will probably look at it in terms of physical wellness, but not so much health or spiritual, psychological, emotional, etc. But those are all part of it as well. And you can actually talk with that a little bit more in depth with a physician and get a little bit more in depth regarding how that benefits a person holistically. So really what needs to happen here on a granular level between all of the personal trainers that are involved with this program, and as you go out into the workforce, as you start to network and build your business, you can do so with doctors to be able to build relationships with those individuals to refer business to you. And they will have quite an influence in terms of redirecting their patients to somebody like yourself. And really what you're doing in this context is you're just taking the continuum of care that that doctor gives, and you're extending it across the continuum to you to make a more preventative type of environment for that person's patient. And as a result, if their doctor is truly operating in the best interest of the patient, they will appreciate this because do no harm as part of it, but also the doctor is trying to do what's best for that patient. And that should be to keep them well, not treat them after they've fallen out of wellness. And there's a difference. So to that end, I'm going to sign it off here. I hope that helped you maybe outline what you're looking to do with your presentation. We'll talk more about this in class. Thank you very much.